Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for the week of July 21st. You have this escape card and this adaptability card. I mean, yeah, adaptability is going to be the, kind of like your middle name right now with Uranus in your sign. So, you could be feeling very adaptable, or you could be coming up with very adaptable, flexible ideas or plans, right? And so that definitely could be happening for you. You do have the Tower here and the Devil. Every single person has had the Devil, and usually everybody gets the Tower lately, because as I've been saying, there will be a lot of global Tower moments between now and 2033. One thing I will say is it does seem like something weird could be happening this week globally. So, I would just keep your head on straight. Pay attention to your feelings as well this week, because we could see something crazy go down in the world just based off the fact that everyone's had the Devil, and this happened in the July monthly readings as well. So this could be the week that there's some sort of event or something like that. The other thing is that you have this escape card, right? The Tower is about escaping the Matrix. The Tower is about kind of like seeing reality for what it is. So these people have been building this tower around them, trying to protect themselves from reality, but now they're being brought back down to reality. This is very much, could absolutely be Uranus in your sign. There could be some sort of shock to the system or reality that is striking you, right? And so I feel a lot of you could be feeling that. Now, like I said to you, when Uranus entered your sign in the first place, it's going to be a very electric time for you, I feel, Gemini. So we have this lightning bolt hitting the top of the tower, of course. So there could be a lot of, I would really be paying attention to those electric ideas, right? So I'm a Gemini moon, and I am paying attention, right? I am paying extra attention to any like random ass ideas that pop into my head, or, any of that stuff, right? Because you never know. Could it cause a Tower moment? Absolutely. But Tower moments are not a bad thing. Tower moments are usually good. The Tower needs to collapse in the first place, right? Tower moments can be uncomfortable, but, really I've discovered in life that nothing good really comes from being comfortable in the first place. That doesn't mean that you can't be comfortable in life. What I mean is, people are always kind of working to get into a place of comfort, or thinking that there's some sort of finish line when there really isn't, right? And, that's like the bad side of comfort. So, sometimes I don't think what I'm trying to spit out here is I don't think we should necessarily avoid Tower moments that could cause discomfort, because usually these are things that cause the most growth and the most success. Is, this could be something where it's like maybe you leave your job and go find another one that pays you 10 times more money, right? There might be some discomfort in that, but again, obviously that would be a good thing. So there you go. It's almost like you're admitting something to yourself here, Gemini, as well, that that's kind of the feeling I get, actually, is that you're admitting something to yourself. So sometimes we can admit uncomfortable truths to ourselves, and, those uncomfortable truths can also lead us to become more successful, feeling more fulfilled, and things like that. So you have the Moon. The Moon can represent fears, fantasies, illusions. I kind of feel like the Moon is asking to be brave as well. Again, I read intuitively, and yes, I understand that's not what the Moon represents, but again, I read intuitively. So that's really what I'm getting off the card, is that the card itself is asking you to do something that could require bravery. And it kind of makes sense. We have this lobster right here. The lobster has to make it from here, or, technically the Moon is part of the Fool's journey. He has to go from here to here. And the lobster says that sometimes we have to let go of our emotional armor. It's like sometimes that, if we want something in life, we have to release our emotional armor so that we can have it. Like if we want love, we can't enter into love being completely closed off, right? Well, people do all the time, and they try it, but it doesn't work out very well, right? We have to be willing to be vulnerable to have someone else be vulnerable with us to make it work in the first place. So, the Moon kind of says we have to release our emotional armor to be successful, and that's kind of what I feel like this card is saying. It's like encouraging you to do something right now with your life that is going to require bravery. It's like maybe there's not like, I don't think there's major fear here, Gemini, but I do feel like there are tiny little fears or tiny little worries, like if I say the wrong thing, or if I do the wrong thing, am I going to totally screw up my life? But it's like rarely in life does that happen, where we make a decision that totally screws up our life. Now, someone always leaves me a comment and says, well, 20 years ago, I robbed the bank and I spent the last 20 years in prison. I'm like, well, obviously you are a freaking moron. So you robbed a bank. So obviously that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about doing things that are completely moronic, right? We're talking about doing things that are pretty much like low risk, but, maybe a little bit of fear, right? Don't rob a bank. You have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is about walking away from things that no longer serve you. So I think that a lot of you, and eclipsing things out of your life kind of makes sense. I do think that you could be being affected by we're in between eclipses, right? The next set of eclipses starts in September. So I feel that you could be being affected by this energy now. Again, you have to remember that eclipses can last for 6 months after the eclipse as well. So, we had those eclipses, a few months ago. And you could be feeling that energy for whatever reason right now. It kind of makes sense. Mercury retrograde, right? Mercury retrograde can bring back, any type of past energy, including like eclipse energy. But it's popping into my head that you're going to have to think back to the eclipses and think about, like, what were you thinking about releasing at that time? Again, some of you are clearly walking away from things that no longer serve you, right? Which is probably a good thing. With the Tower, you have the Hermit. It's like you're seeing things clearly. I feel pretty good about this. The Hermit has been through the dark night of the soul. He's standing at the top of a mountain. He's shining his inner light. I feel you have a lot of wisdom, but it's like this wisdom needs to be unleashed on the world with the Eight of Wands, Gemini. I've been saying this to you for the past couple weeks. Gemini is a genius. Gemini is a genius. It is a genius sign. And so it's like you have to unleash your ideas on the world. You know what I'm noticing right now as well? Is that this adaptability card is Gemini. This escape card is Pisces. You keep getting Gemini Pisces energy in your readings. And I keep saying it kind of makes sense because the two of you are the two dual signs, and the twin signs. And you both, kind of are good at seeing both sides of things. So that's also a theme. With the Moon, you have the Five of Swords. Take the risk. The Five of Swords can represent separation, breakup, sadness, all these fighting things, all those things. But to me, the Five of Swords can also be about taking some sort of risk. He's walking away the winner, and I feel that it is time for you to take the risk of walking down the path of the Moon, where and the Moon is something where you don't know what the outcome is. I feel like a lot of people could be honestly feeling this right now. It's like we really, really don't know the future. I think normally that we don't know the future, but sometimes I think we get little hunches. I always use the example years ago when I was like 17 or 18. There was this new aquarium that opened where I used to live. And I went there, I visited there, and I'm obsessed with fish, right? And the first time I went there, I literally knew that I was going to work there. I didn't know how it was going to happen because I had to drive 45 minutes every single day to get there, both ways, obviously. And so I didn't know how I was going to do it or what was going to happen or whatever, but I just could see it in my head. It's almost like I knew the future, right? And I think that's what's been missing for people for years. It's like having that little bit of a hunch that that something is going to happen. And so that is the Moon, right? Where we want to do something, but we're kind of missing the hunch, which could make us a little bit nervous. And I feel like the Five of Swords is taking the risk. It says take the risk. Here we go. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Sun. Yes, so very good. I prefer readings that go from the Moon to the Sun because that is the right direction. We want to move away from that Moon energy because it is darkness. The Sun is answers, happiness, joy, good things. It's the best card in the tarot, so good things could be coming in for you here. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Not For You card and this Yang energy card. Yeah, that's the other thing as well, is that the Sun and the Moon, the reason I don't really like the Sun and the Moon is it can represent two things that just do not see eye to eye. So in love, for example, it could be two people who are just too different, right? But intuitively, I feel for you, Gemini, that this doesn't have to be a person. For some of you, it is. But for some of you, I feel this could be just something you're no longer an energetic match to. You have outgrown something. You have evolved past something. It's almost like the universe is waiting for you to complete your evolution. Or maybe it's like you've been a tadpole, for a very long time. And it's like now you have your legs and you're kind of swimming around like a little frog in a pool. And it's like the universe is like, are you going to get onto land? It's like, are you going to get away from the Moon, the water, right? With the Moon card. And are you going to hop onto the land and use your frickin' legs? That's what needs to happen here. So I feel like the water is no longer for you. The Yang energy is kind of like the Ace of Wands, which you have in your reading. It is a card of getting started on something. So I feel like you're getting started on something new. You have the Devil, the Eight of Wands, and the Six of Pentacles. I don't know. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I feel weird about this week. And like I said, I can't say too much on YouTube, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if something weird happened this week. So just, pay attention, basically. I also feel that this week, in all the July readings, everybody had the devil. This week, everybody's had the devil. So clearly, this is the week that we should all be paying attention to things that are toxic, and we should avoid. It's very simple. It's not complicated. We should just avoid things that are toxic, and if we do that, I think things will be fine. I always say tarot isn't a prison sentence. This isn't saying like, oh, something bad's gonna happen and you're screwed. It's saying, hey, you can avoid this toxic energy right now, and that's what I would do with the devil. Is I would avoid anything toxic, period, this week. It's like whenever I have stuff like this happen, I always tell people, like, make sure, even if you have like one drink this week, don't drive, right? Period. Point blank, plain and simple. Even if you think you're perfectly fine. Like, this week would be a good week to be a goody two-shoes. You have one drink, get an Uber, right? If you're going out this week, just get an Uber in the first place. Don't even bother driving, right? Because you never know what could happen. And, that's kind of like what I feel here with that card. You have the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is a quick success or a quick conclusion or just quick movement in general. And definitely, if there is a change happening for you, which there clearly is right here, we go down to the Eight of Wands, to the Seven of Wands. This is going to be a rapid change, a rapid change in your circumstances. I feel very good about it, though. I mean, yeah, the Tower can be a little bit scary, but, at the same time, I feel like whatever this is, it's a rapid change, probably because of a lightning bolt moment, like a light bulb moment, strike to the head where you're realizing something, and it could be good. You have the Six of Pentacles. Again, I think that we all have to stop trying to be at the finish line, is the message that I'm getting for you here, Gemini. We have to get started. We have to kind of plant seeds. I think everybody right now is trying to get to the finish line first. It's like people are, before they're starting something, it's like they are, I feel we want to know more that things are going to work than we normally would. I think normally we would be more willing to take risks. I think the energy right now is that people are saying, I will take the risk when I know what's going to happen. But that's not how life works, right? Life is the Six of Pentacles. We have to plant a couple of seeds. We have to see what grows. We have to see what doesn't grow, right? We have to see what works, what doesn't, and then we keep working towards what works. And, that's kind of like what you have to do there with the Six of Pentacles. With the Devil, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Pretty good. I mean, Eight of Pentacles can be like straightforward work and diligent work. The Eight of Pentacles is also material success on the horizon. So anything that you're working on could definitely lead to a lot of benefits in the future. And maybe you need to realize that. Maybe you need to realize that there is more money or more success coming in for you in the future with that card. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Strength card. Strength is kind of like just, you have the Strength card twice. And I did say on that Moon card that you have to be courageous or you have to be brave this week about something. This could be in communication. You have the Eight of Wands, Strength. You have the Lovers right here. You have the Eight of Cups with the Sun. It's kind of like some of you might need to make someone aware that you're interested. Like, obviously, if you've never flirted with a person, or like if you've been hiding in the bushes spying on a person and yet like they don't know who you are, it's like obviously for them to flirt with you, then they need to know that you exist, right? I always tell a story. I used to have a friend who's married now, but we would go out with her and she would always complain, and I'm not picking on anyone here, like I get it, but we would go out with her and she would always say like, no one ever hits on me, no one ever talks to me. She's beautiful, by the way, but when we would go out, like she would always have a hat on down over her face, and we used to say to her all the time, no one even knows you exist because they can't see your face. You hide in the corner, you pull the hat down over your face, but she thought she was doing something, right? So it's like, it's like sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves and say, I'm probably not doing things that I think I'm doing. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Wands, right? So Ten of Wands is about carrying a heavy burden, but the Ten of Wands says you are very close to achieving your goal. He's almost about to reach his home in the background of the card, so I feel a lot of you are very close to accomplishing something here. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have the Seek Guidance in this card. It says, it is time for a different perspective. Gemini, Pisces, adaptability, and escape, right? So I think that we've been talking about this because you kept getting the Hangman with me for like weeks. You don't have it this week, although that could change in a minute. And so there is something about your perspective. This has been coming up for you for weeks. You have this Be Still card that says, cultivate a space of stillness and silence to just be. Maybe that's the secret, is just doing nothing. Sometimes I think we have to do that. Sometimes I think we have to just get into that space. I will tell you, Gemini, as well, not to talk too much about myself here, but I do think it's helpful. Like for the past week or so, I've been feeling a lot of pressure, but I just decided to do nothing except for I've been going for my walk every single day, right? But I've been going for longer walks, and it's really been helpful for me. It's like, yeah, it's kind of pulled me away from doing some things that I've been working on, that I've been trying to work on. But I also just, if I'm being honest with myself, I've been forcing things to work, right? And anytime I've done that in my life, nothing works. Anytime I try to get something to work, it doesn't work. And so I've just decided, you know what, I'm going to take a little bit of a break here. I'm going to spend more time, going for walks and getting that energy out instead of trying to force something to work. And what's crazy is that just this week, starting this week, basically, I've been getting more answers. So yeah, it took a couple of weeks to really get the energy going. But it's I've been on my walks, I've been getting some answers. I've been getting some new ideas and some better directions and things like that. And so, again, it's maybe you need to do that. Maybe instead of trying to force something. And it's trust me, I understand that there's pressure. I think everybody this week and, also next month will be feeling a lot of pressure. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think people will be feeling the pressure of needing money or, needing things to go a certain way. But it's if you could just sit in that for a minute and just say, you know what, this is only a period of time. I probably am putting too much pressure on the situation. I just need a break, right? And maybe that's what you need to take, is a break. You have the Lovers, the Temperance card, and the Seven of Wands. Again, this is coming up in the area of messages from your future self. The Lovers, of course, is you, Gemini. So whenever you show up as yourself, this puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading, so it's very good. The Lovers could also be love. I definitely have been feeling love for you for a couple of weeks, so wouldn't surprise me if there was a new connection coming in for you here. I feel like this person changes your life in some way. This feels different. I feel like I've said this to you before, Gemini. It's I feel different things for, different signs, just in general, around love, right? And for you, it feels different than everybody else. I feel like there's a much bigger change for you than everyone else if you're attracting love. It could even be you move with this person, or it's or maybe you do something bigger in life with this person. It's a person you start a business with, for example. It's there's something bigger, a big picture thing that's popping into my head, a move, starting a business, traveling with this person a lot, something like that. So it could be that type of person. But like I said, it's also you coming up. You have the Temperance card. I feel like this is taking a while, if this is love. The Temperance card, it's almost like the angels have been mixing the two of you together. He's mixing these two cups together right here. And, it's a card of alchemy. But I almost feel like this is what the universe has been doing for you, Gemini. It's the universe has been mixing two people together behind the scenes. It's taken some time. It's both people had to be ready for each other, and that's kind of what I feel. We also see a lot of patience here, which is probably not a word that you enjoy. I mean, we have the Strength card twice, plus this card, which would be patience. Again, I think the type of patience you should have is going for the walks. Like I said, I'm not saying you have to go for a walk. You could do whatever you enjoy. But, you have this cultivate a space of stillness and silence to just be. For me, that's walking. For you, that could be something else, right? So it's I don't sit down and meditate. That's not how I meditate. Walking is my meditation, right? And so I think that you need to do whatever it is that puts you in that space. And you might be saying, I have all this pressure. I have bills to pay, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, which I totally understand. I totally get the pressure. But at the same time, it's I think that really you're going to get to where you need to be faster if you would just kind of get into this space of stillness. And that's what this card wants you to do. You have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is a card of beliefs and conviction. It's when you know that something is for you, it is for you with this card. So the Seven of Wands wants us to believe things on a deeper level. And if we do that, we'll be successful. You can't make this up. With the Lovers, you have the Chariot. Literally said travel or moving. That's literally what popped into my head with that Lover. So, it's almost like I'm psychic or something here, Gemini, right? But definitely there is something different about this person. I got movement. That's literally why I said it at the beginning. And, it could be a person from a distance, but I don't know. It feels like after to me. As in you meet this person and then after you move with this person or you travel with this person, something like that. The Chariot would also just be different because the Chariot he is leaving the city behind him to set himself apart. But that's kind of what I'm getting for you here as well. It's I think that if you are attracting love, this is a person where both people have gone through significant changes recently. This person might even say that to you. Like, that might be a clue. If you are dating, if you're wondering, like, who is this person? That might be a clue to you. They might say that I've made some big changes, or I've done this, I've done that, you know? And you have probably done the same. You know, I think that this is two people who have been prepared for each other. By the way, if you're thinking about moving, this is a definite yes. Didn't I say that at the beginning of the reading? Something like that? I'm pretty sure I did. So if you're thinking about moving, yes. With the Temperance card, you have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords could be a blessing in disguise. You know, a lot of you could be saying, like, why have I had to wait so long for this thing? And, you know, I think the Ten of Swords is saying you're finally seeing the blessing in what you have been prepared for. And I feel that's a good thing. That's pretty much all I get there. Next, with the Seven of Wands, you have the Emperor. Yeah, definitely could be attracting an Emperor type person. There is also something about control this week. And, whatever is going on in the world, could have to do with control. So I don't even know what the hell to say about that. Just something to think about, right? The other thing I would say is definitely could be attracting an Emperor. So there you go. But the other thing I'm getting here is that, like, the more you release control, the better, right? It's like when we try to control an outcome, usually it doesn't work, like I just talked about with the walking thing. When we allow things to work, usually they work, and that's kind of popping into my head as well. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Wealth of Knowledge card. It says, connect to the knowledge in your soul to teach and help heal the world. A lot of you could be teaching things. I kind of said this at the beginning. Hermit, Tower, Eight of Wands. I think I said on the Eight of Wands that it's almost like you could be communicating something to the world. I think I said something like that. And yeah, I think that would be good for you, Gemini. You have a lot to share. You have this Dragonfly spirit. It says, shift your way of thinking and tackle the issue from a different angle. Gemini, Pisces, right? It's like those two energies. Why? I don't know why this is so important for you, but you've been getting the Hangman with me, right? And it's like, I've been trying to think about this for you, Gemini. Like, what is the difference? I'm a Pisces sun with a Gemini moon, right? So it's like, I've been trying to think about, like, what's the difference between those two things? They're both dual signs. They're both good at seeing things from two different perspectives. When Pisces is high vibration, they see things from the 3D perspective, real world, logical, but they can also be very spiritual. When those two things come together, they can create magic, right? Gemini is, I think, better at mixing two things together, right? Coming together, two ideas coming together that are completely different. And yeah, I don't know. I still don't have answers, right? The other thing I would say is, like, the Pisces side of things is, like, Pisces can be very go with the flow, which is good, but also Pisces sometimes need to swim upstream because they need to build. That's how they build muscle. That's how they become strong, is by swimming upstream, right? It's like when I was in high school, I was in FFA, Future Farmers of America. We used to joke and call it that, right? And I was in aquaculture, and one thing about fish that are raised in aquaculture is they just feel very like loose. They feel very kind of like gushy is the best way to describe it. Like a wild fish, it feels like a chunk, it feels like you're holding on to something. Farm-raised fish do not feel that way, right? Why? Because they don't have to swim upstream, right? Farm-raised fish don't have to swim up against a current, so they're not strong. And I don't know, that's kind of popping into my head for you, Gemini, is like maybe, Tower, Eight of Wands, it's like maybe there are difficult choices you've been making, but these difficult choices are making you a chunk. They're making you stronger in a good way. You have in the area the good stuff, the Page of Wands, Two of Wands, Strength card, and the Ace of Wands. Yet the Page of Wands says you need to follow your bliss. Same with the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands has completed something, and he's standing at the top of his castle, but, he has a whole world in his hands. There's, like, a lot more that he could go experience if he followed his bliss. And, that's kind of what I feel like the card is saying. And you also have the Sun in the reading, which basically says the same thing. The Strength card is saying to me that you've done the work, especially in the good stuff. The Strength card, she is taming her inner voice, her inner critic. She is the one that's in control of those words that she uses against herself. And she's being more positive, maybe, or thinking more positively, or making sure she's not talking about herself negatively. And I think a lot of you have done the work, is what this card is saying. You have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands would be out with the old, in with the new. It kind of makes sense. This tower, or this castle, is crumbling in the background of the card. And, it's kind of like the tower that is crumbling. So a lot of you, there could be a very quick passionate new beginning coming in for you in your life this week, and it could be good. Ace of Wands is my favorite card in the tarot. The reason I love the Ace of Wands is it's just that one thing we need to get motivated. It's that like spark of hope, that spark of inspiration. So there could be like a spark of hope even with the Tower. There's a spark, right? We've been talking about electricity with you for weeks. With the Two of Wands, here you go. You have the Temperance card. You've been waiting for this for a long time. Like, you've been waiting for something, Gemini. I feel like this could be the week that it shows up. So whatever you've been waiting for, it's here. With the Strength card, you have the Star, which is amazing. Definitely very positive, especially in a reading with the Tower. When we have the Tower, the Star definitely says that you are healing from a Tower moment. So that makes me worry about the Tower a lot less in your reading. But definitely could be going through healing. The Star also says that you have a good direction to move in this week. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Justice card. A lot of you could... It almost feels like a gift to me or karma. Like you could be receiving positive karma from the universe with that Ace of Wands. Especially with the Justice card as well. It's like the universe is bringing you justice, or the universe is bringing you kind of like a reward or karma that you want. So that's good. You have this Eagle card. It says triumph over obstacles. Yes, definitely could be overcoming some obstacles with the Tower, the Hermit, and the Eight of Wands there. So, pretty good is what I would say. You have this May card, and this Shark. It says take care or there will be loss of material wealth. Yes, I would say between now and March of next year based off the astrology. But, this card says May. I would just keep a close eye on your finances. Mark my words, by the time we get to March, money will change. There will be some sort of change in the global financial markets. Mark my words. I've been talking about this since 2016. I've been predicting this. Neptune in Pisces rules anything that flows. And speaking of Pisces, with the fish, anything that is weak, anything that is a farm-raised fish, anything that is, just has nothing to it, no substance, is going to disappear. Anything that is strong is going to stay. So I've been saying this since 2016, that there will be changes in the financial markets by the time we get to 2026, probably by March. So there will be some sort of change in finances. I don't think we should worry about this, but I do think we should pay attention. We shouldn't be wasting money. We shouldn't be buying things we don't need. We should just pay attention. You have this Wedge card that says someone is trying to come between you and a friend or something you want. I would be careful who you tell what to this week, especially with the retrograde, This card comes up a lot now. So if there's something you want and someone's saying like, oh, don't do that, then you probably shouldn't listen to them. You have this hammock. It says taking a vacation either physically or mentally. We talked about this with the Lovers and the Temperance card. So definitely some sort of break would be good for you this week. You have this Crack Cup card. It says dissatisfaction with life. I like this card personally because I think that dissatisfaction sometimes is like the one thing we need that motivates us to success. So if you are feeling dissatisfied by something, this is probably leading you towards bigger successes. But pretty interesting reading here, Gemini, for sure. Thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.